What's up, everybody? I absolutely love doing this show. This has been such a wonderful opportunity for me, and it has been amazing the things that I've been able to experience in such a short time. I really appreciate all the support that we've been getting, all the love that we've been getting. Last time I checked, it seems like I think we're up in like 7 different countries: Russia, New Zealand, Japan, Hungary, Canada. Canada popped up the other day, so that's amazing to me. I love doing it. That was the whole intention, was being able to spread this energy and spread this love and expand people's minds, and it looks like it's working. It looks like the thing that I wanted to happen is actually happening. Thank you for listening, everybody, and of course, we've got to thank our sponsors, Crystal Water Float Spa, located in Tooele, Utah. It's 40 West Vine Street. Go online and find them at crystalwaterfloat.com, and also find them on Facebook at Crystal Water Float Spa. Get in a tank already. Go back and listen to the episode that we did with the guys from Float On, and you can learn a lot about floating and the ways that it's going to help you spiritually, mentally, physically, all these benefits from floating, from just laying back in a tank full of salt water, for hell's sakes. Get out there, go float, get in a tank. You're going to love it. Go to Crystal Water, go find their stuff. We have to thank DeBry Man. DeBry Man's been sponsoring small businesses for the past 10 years. Podcast wouldn't be what it is without the help from Bry Man. If you're loving the show, go check us out on Facebook at the Energy is Love Podcast. Email us, energyislovepodcast@gmail.com. If you like the show, subscribe. You can subscribe on iTunes, Google Play Music, tons of places. Basically, if there's a place to find a podcast, you can find our podcast. Send us some love, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment, send us an email, message us on Facebook. Let us know what you guys think. We love to get some feedback and some ideas. And just know that you're enjoying the show and that you're out there listening. Become a sponsor of the show. We are heard in over 7 countries across the world. We have over 200 subscribers. Contact us and let us know if you're interested, because we always would love to have more sponsors. Let us help you spread your message. Let us help you expand your business, your gifts, what you're doing for the universe. Even if you want to give us love in the form of cash, by all means, we're going to take it. We have a GoFundMe page set up. There's a link to it through our Facebook page. Go find it. Send us some love. Let us take your cash and turn it into energy, and then spread the message across the globe and shoot it out into the universe. If you want to be on the show, contact us. We're always looking for people, new and interesting people. If you've got a good message and you want to get it out there, if you want to share your story, if you're liking what we're doing, contact us and we can come out and interview you. We'd love to sit down with you, whoever you are. Yeah, you, I'm talking to you. We want to sit down and talk to you. We want to hear about your journey, your story. We want to hear about how the universe and your love of energy has changed your life. So contact us on Facebook. Email us at theenergyislovepodcast@gmail.com. The universe spins on energy. Energy is just love. And this is the Energy is Love podcast. Love is energy. On today's episode, I had the unique opportunity to sit down with Anna Sierra. If you guys don't know who Anna is, this is your opportunity to learn about her. She's an amazing person who does so much for the community, so much for the realm of spirituality and everybody involved in it. One of the main things that Anna does is she puts on festivals and events and different expos and things like that. I met Anna at the New Consciousness Expo in Ogden that was held in January. I was a vendor there. I went and did my thing, and it was an incredible experience, not just meeting her, but the whole event. And that's what Anna does. She puts on those events. She puts on expos and festivals that are typically spiritually based and designed around the idea of spreading love and spreading light and expanding people's awareness of what's out there, and also giving people the opportunity to not just learn about all the stuff that we talk about on the podcast, but also find out what it means to them and their connection to it. I absolutely loved this interview. I loved taking the time to sit down with her and getting to know about her and what she does. I hope you guys love this episode as much as I loved doing it. She's an amazing person. Stay tuned for a very special episode of the Energy is Love podcast with Anna Sierra.
You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is Love.
The Energy is the Love podcast.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is love.
The Energy is Love podcast.
The podcast for the universe.
The Energy is Love podcast.
What's up, everybody? Here we are again with the Energy is Love podcast. My guest today is the amazing Anna Sierra. Good morning, Anna. How are you?
I'm very blessed. Thank you for asking.
How are you feeling today?
Amazing.
So, and I'm super excited that you're able to sit down with me. I've been looking forward to it. You and I met, I guess, at the beginning of this year when I reached out to you so that I could come be a part of the event that you put on, the expo. It's not the expo, though. What do you call it? Because I always forget all the names of all of them.
The first one in January is the expo.
Uh-huh.
And then the second one of the year is the festival.
Yeah, and so that's where we initially met. And I have to tell you, that event for me at the beginning of the year, the one in January that was up at that Union Station in Ogden, that was a really beautiful event for me. I absolutely loved doing it. It had wonderful energy, great people, and it kind of kicked my year off really, really well. I think it helped me personally, and I know a bunch of other people that were at that event as vendors, and not just vendors, but also people that showed up and everything, and it was just awesome. So you do a really amazing job.
Thank you.
That's kind of what you do, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty much. Basically, I do a whole lot of other things, but the event in January is really centered around kicking off our new year for everyone, the vendors, the readers, the healers, the community that we reach out to. I start planning that event in October, and it's kind of crazy because it goes over all the holidays, and I'm working and that kind of stuff, but it gets your seeds planted and the things like your business cards and your banners and the stuff that you need for the new year. You kind of reflect and look at, your old materials, or if you don't have materials, then get all that stuff ready so that when the event happens, that you've got that wheel in motion for your new year, which the momentum and the things that we need to build our business, building clientele, building our pipeline, taking care of things that need to take care of to ensure a great new year happen right at the beginning of the year. I center it around January 11th. Mm-hmm. So it's right around 111. I love numbers. I love number sequences. They've spoke to me for most of my life. So that'll always be around that time. So whatever weekend falls closest to that is where it will be. And the community in Ogden is one that I've just grown to love. I live in Clearfield, so I'm in between Ogden and Salt Lake. I've always been this bridge. And Ogden, I always joked around that, like, if you wanted a reading or a healing, you could find somebody. And if you found her, 4 months out, you could get a reading or a healing with her if she wasn't booked. And
yeah.
I wanted to change that, so I did.
Well, cool. Was this the first time that you had done the one in January? Because I know that there's another one that you do in the summertime, which we just had back in May. But was this the first time that you did the one in January?
Actually, that's my third.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it kind of shows, because it was very well put on, very well. I mean, just everything about it was flowing and beautiful, and I loved it. Tell us some more about, I know that you're kind of an event coordinator for a bunch of different things. Like, I always see everything that you're doing. But how did you get into that initially? Well,
my life's path and purpose. I actually went to, I thought I was going to open up a center. I thought I was going to open up a healing and wellness center for the community. And I just functioned like it was already brick and mortar, like it was already in existence. I marketed it. I went and did shows, solicited readers and healers and people that would do workshops and classes and stuff. And in going to those events, that's where the spark started to fly, actually. So I went to Christiane Turner's New Consciousness event in Sandy. Well, it wasn't in Sandy at that time. Yeah, it was. And I was networking. I'm a social butterfly no matter where I'm at. I just love meeting people and finding out what they do, and just sparks start to happen. And at the end of that event, I was a vendor. And I thought, I was like a kid at Disneyland, and there were 70 vendors, and I only got 30 business cards. And I was like, oh, no, this is not enough time. It was from 10 to 4 one day.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I did my own event, I would do it full show hours, because I've always worked at shows. I've started doing food shows 17 years ago. So I've done expos and events and festivals in some aspect, some form, for a very long time. I thought I would do full show hours, which is, usually 12 hours.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I would do it for 2 days, because you could spend one day networking and then one day getting things done that you wanted to do, to see all of the things. And she had a vendor group on Facebook, and she was following up, and she said, give me some feedback. What did you like? What would you change? What could we do different next year? Or, did it go smooth for you? How was your show? Mm-hmm. And a couple of ladies from Ogden chimed in and asked her if she would create an event in Ogden up north. And she said, oh, no. She said, this is, I do so much other stuff. This event is just something that the community, I've been doing for so long. The community expects it, and I want to do it she said, but by all means, if you ladies would like to create one for yourselves, go ahead and do it. And I chimed in and said, if you guys get something going, I would love to be a part of it in some aspect. And I never heard back, never heard nothing from it. It was just something that didn't leave my heart. And I thought, I think I'm going to do an event like that on my own. And I'll get a committee together and we'll get some team members and make this happen. And I had a meeting with some initial people that I thought would be great leaders and would help out and stuff. And this is just what I found happens with an event, is that you bring people with great intentions together, and then life happens and different things happen. And the universe was just like, you're doing this. This is your thing. Figure it out. Find a way.
How long ago was that? Like, how many years
that
ago?
That was 3 or 4 years ago. The first event I did, so I went, I had a friend in Ogden who owned an art gallery. And we were actually he was getting a mayor award. We did like a pre-meet at his gallery before we went over to the Union Station. When I walked into that gallery, it was the first time I'd seen it. I knew he built it and all of the stuff. And I just went, oh, this is incredible space. And Spirit said, this is the place. And I went, I think this would be a good space to have an event, an expo. And he said, we rent this space because it was pretty big. It has like this big, beautiful, it had like a store in the front and this big gallery in the back with just this beautiful decorated art everywhere. And I'm an artist as well. And it was just like, oh, the aesthetics are here. The vibe is here. It's just beautiful. And he says, we rent this place out. And I went, of course you do. That's the universe's nudge to say, you found your space. Now create. And that must have been in like November, December, because I threw it together in like 2 months, months or 3 months at the most. I don't think it was quite October, but maybe it might have been. And the very first event we had there, we had 25 vendors or exhibitors. I call people exhibitors because they're the readers, healers, or vendors, or artists. And so we just filled up the spaces. Jan Brady was she's been with me since the beginning. Crystal Walker, she's been with me since the beginning. Nick Mann was one of the first ones. Dr. Corey, if you haven't met him, Dr. Corey Sondrup's amazing. And as soon as I set the wheel in motion for this thing, people just came out of the woodwork to participate and be a part of. And Jan and Crystal, a couple of these people I met from the Soulworks Fair, because I did the Soulworks Fair for 6 months when Betty first started. And so that's kind of how it evolved. And then the newspaper showed up and people showed up. And we just made a small Facebook event, and I didn't expect the turnout that we had. We had, I imagine, about 250 people came throughout the 2 days that we had the event. The entertainment that I had belly dancers and somebody with a didgeridoo, and then my friend Brian, who owned the gallery, was practicing in a band, and they played half the time just because they were practicing in the space at the same time, but it just all vibed together beautifully. And then there was some dead air space time. I didn't plan on I did have speakers. My friend Zoe spoke at that event as well. And I just, every time there was a break, I thought, I need to call somebody else to come play or come do something, to have this background ambiance happen with the entertainment. So that kind of is where how the stage evolved, how the speaking parts evolved as well.
At the time, was there really anything going on up in Ogden or up in northern Utah?
Northern Utah, no. There were a few classes, a couple meetup groups. I went to a couple of Reiki shares, and I think I went to a dream board workshop and a couple of things. I tried to get involved with all things out here in Ogden as well. I was accustomed to working in Salt Lake because I had done the weekends with Betty at the Soulworks, and then I did some stuff at Crohn's Hollow, and I did, you name an event, I was there. But it was always in Salt Lake, and I was working all week long and then working all weekend in Salt Lake, and I thought, we just really need something up here because I'm sure there's people that aren't traveling to go search, and there's people searching like me for these kind of events, So, yeah.
And that was only like 3 or 4 years ago. And now there's stuff going on all the time, it seems like, up here in Ogden and northern Utah and everywhere. And, that's really, really neat.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Because I watched it evolve. that was the first event. And then I got recruited to do a show with Rainbow Gardens in Ogden. So that was another place that had some events and things going on as well. They had their first Friday Psychic Fling and maybe a couple of other, like a Dikshka class and something else, but there wasn't much. And then they asked me to come and coordinate and do their April Shower of New Age Power event. And I did that, coordinated that, pulled it together, pulled in the people that I had, plus they had some of their people. And it was a very beautiful event. And that started more momentum going. I met some people from Brigham City and other places, and just, continued to build this network of connection of people that are looking for answers, the same thing, or the vibration or the magic that an event like that brings. You have experienced what's there, and it's not something that's quite explainable. And then I did the second expo. And this time network is growing pretty big, and people are asking, when are you going to do the next one? When's the next thing? When's, keep me involved. I want to be a part of that. And with some encouragement and help, I think Dr. Corey's always, when's the next one? When's the next one? And so I scheduled the next one, and I thought, okay, we've got to go bigger. And then the gallery closed. So I had to find a new venue. And I've always loved the Union Station, the aesthetics of the building, the vibration of the building is just, energetically pretty amazing there.
It's a cool space.
It's a beautiful space. And I like it because I don't have to decorate it. And that was one thing I loved about the gallery, is that I didn't have to decorate it either. The art was already there.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, if we rent the Union Station, and I'll bring more artists in, and we'll have artists display all of their beautiful art and bring color. So, and then when I saw the space, I saw the stage. Actually, I had done some live painting for another event. I give where I can, and it was for charity. And I saw how he utilized the space, like the director of that event. And I went, oh yeah, this is the place. This is it. The Spirit's like, this is where you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I went for a tour and got to see all the space that we were going to get to use. And I'm a visual person. When I walked in, I could just see the booths all lined up, and the people on stage. And so we created the second one at the Union Station, and that one brought out more people from the woodwork. And my brain is blown by this time. Like, where do these people keep coming from? They're, and they're local here in Ogden. Not only Salt Lake. I mean, I do have connections there, and people come from Salt Lake, but there were so many here in Ogden, and I was just blown. My mind was just blown on how could I be chosen to direct or build or guide what this is, because it's always bigger than me. And that's part of my, I think my success is that I trust the universe. I trust in what my soul's path and purpose is, because my vibration feels so great there. It feels home. It feels complete in doing what I do. And so I built it, and I had speakers during the daytime, because we can't have music there till after 5. Mm-hmm. And then I pulled in some friends who are musicians, and I always have belly dancers, because I think I was a belly dancer in a past life. I love it.
That's one of the cool things I like about your events, is you do always have that stuff going on all day long throughout the day, and the different things. And it really does not only create that good environment and that good vibration, but it's nice to just, so there were a lot of times when I found myself kind of leaving my booth and leaving what I was doing just so I could go watch whatever cool stuff was going on. So I think that's really added benefit to the whole, just kind of the way that you do those events. It's super cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I think, this festival was just off the hook.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I liked about festival this last year was that we had the Native American dancers, we had the belly dancers, we had MPE USA. Did you see the Samoan fire dancer at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, he was so amazing. I mean, I saw a video, but that's nothing compared to the energy when you were in front of him. And one thing that I've always wanted to do, so as a single mom, I always took my children to events that were cheap or free, so that we were busy on the weekends. And so we were festival people anyway, just, to go and check out different things, the Earth Jam. We went to belly dance festivals. We went to Chalk Art Fest. I mean, you name a festival, we were there. And my children are so cultured because of that environment,
Yeah, that exposure.
that exposure, that I thought, why can't we share this with more people than just my kids and bring aspects of all of those beautiful things into one place? So it's kind of where the transformational festival part of what this last festival is, because people aren't necessarily going to be a festival junkie like me and be at a festival every weekend, but they'll come for a reading or a healing and stick around if the entertainment's good.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I've just loved having, just to see the magic and beauty of art, performance, and people sharing their gifts and talents and things that you wouldn't be able to see any other place, and bring it downtown in Ogden.
I think it helps too because, you have those people that may not necessarily show up to the festival or come out to the festival if they're not into spirituality and energy work and things like that. But then they, for some reason, are drawn to one of the other things that you have going on. So it's that whole duality thing where, you've got the people that are there for a specific purpose. They want to go see somebody that they love working with, and then they're hanging out longer because they want to listen or watch what's going on. And then vice versa, the people that are like, oh, I want to go see the Native American dancing. Then they're like, hey, what else is going on? So they're going to take the time to walk. And so that's really, really cool. I want to go back further, okay? Because I know that you're a festival lady. I know that you're all about, and we have a lot to talk about when it comes to that stuff. But you seriously seem like you're doing something every week, every weekend. You're involved in a whole bunch. But tell me a little bit about, because you mentioned that you used to be a participant in the Soulworks Fair. And I didn't know that about you. So when it comes to kind of, give me like your stereotypical journey towards the universe and how it all came to be.
Ooh, dun dun. Actually, so I was born clairvoyant, clairaudio, very gifted. And I had an experience when I was about 4 years old. And I kind of tipped the scale to see if my premonition was, in fact, if I was creating that. And I did it. And I went, oh, look what I can do. And my grandmother's spirit, so loud in my ear, who's passed on, great-grandmother, she said, yes, you can, but don't you dare. And as a 4-year-old, I went, okay, no, I won't. And I repressed it. I, just stuffed it so far and deep that I'm still trying to unbury it this many years later. None of it always goes away. I mean, you always have that. I've always been a lucid dreamer and different things. And then I went about my life and just worked, regular jobs and different things, and came to a point in my life where I was introduced to the law of attraction and The Secret. Actually, The Secret was one of the first. So then the Secret led into the law of attraction. And I'd always been reading self-help books and different things like that, just because your heart always longs for your purpose, your path, and your spirit to be
that subconscious
nurtured.
that always is being drawn towards it, even if you're not aware of it.
Absolutely. And whenever I got to see a metaphysical shop or anything else, I mean, my soul came on fire. And so that was something that I thought, okay, maybe we need to nurture this a little bit. So anyhow, I got involved with the law of attraction, started reading those books and audio on tape. And at the time, I was actually selling legal insurance. And it was MLM. And part of MLMs is personal development. It was a big key piece of that industry. And that brings me back to the library, because I used to come here and rent audio on tape, because I used to work in Brigham City, so it was a 45-minute drive to and from work. And so that's your drive time university, right? So you just fill your brain with all of these things. And so I started, I've listened to so many audio on tape. And I was thinking now, I wonder what have they got new now? It's been a while since I've been here. So anyhow, I really started paying attention to the law of attraction. But I think what happens when we first get involved with the law of attraction is that we want things to manifest. We want to understand and create. And then there's this awakening where you're responsible for everything that you've created. And that's a hard pill to swallow at first. And I went through a separation and divorce from a marriage that we had been together for like 8 years, and got to start my life completely over. And there was a point in my life where I was on an antidepressant that made things so much worse. And now I had been in some dark places in my life before where, I seriously wanted to take my life, or did try to take my life in my younger years. But I hadn't had that same experience for a very long time. And I found myself back in that same place. And
after your divorce, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Down to rock bottom, nothing. I was in a room this big with my 2 daughters. We had nothing but our clothes and my computer. As far as belongings go, I lost everything that I owned. And that's okay. It was a beautiful beginning, is what that really was. And this medication anyhow made things worse. I was having suicidal thoughts. I wasn't getting up in the morning. I'd get up and get my kids off to school, and then I'd sleep all day till they got home, and I'd make them dinner, and I'd go back to bed. I just didn't have energy or gumption or any motivation to do anything. And I finally surrendered to the universe and said, hey, I don't want to go to that dark place again where that's a decision day. Am I going to live or am I going to die? Please show me what you want me to do. I surrender. Show me how to fix this. You've kept me here for a reason, and it better be a damn good one. Right? I was at bottom. I just didn't know what to do. I'd given up. And so I pleaded for help. And it was in the morning, I remember, and it was Spirit spoke to me in my ear, and it was one of the first times that I heard Spirit again. And it said, what about your center? And I forgot that 17 years prior, because I was only like 5 years old, 5 or 6, and he used to speak to angels and see angels all the time. And I thought, I can't believe I let this idea or dream die and be completely gone from memory or recollection or idea for so long. And I went, my center. Well, now I had path and purpose.
How long had you kind of had that vision or that dream, you think?
For the center?
Yeah.
Well, it was 17 years prior to when I got reawakened.
Really?
Yeah. But here, the world wasn't ready for me, and I wasn't ready for the world.
Yeah.
I thought I was at the time when I kind of started out with the idea, but it really hadn't. So much of my life had transformed in that time that it was now time. It was time to
It's all about timing.
Yeah. Divine alignment.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, what about that center? And all of a sudden, path and purpose, I just woke up. Okay, now I know what I'm going to do with my life. I mean, because I had no job, I had there was nothing I was doing at the time besides spinning in my head, and so I live by 2 mantras that saved my life on that day. It was in December, and it was one of the worst snowstorms that we had. Now, when I say I had nothing. I had $2. I had no car, and I had a phone that only would work on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
That would connect to internet. So one mantra is giving thanks for unknown blessings already on their way, and I post it almost every day. I had attended a class with Zoe. If you don't know who Zoe Kalamowick is, he's Zoe the Peacemaker, soul brother of mine. And he's been a mentor.
We're trying to get him on the podcast.
Oh, we'll get him.
Try to pin that guy down.
Yeah, he's kind of hard to pin down, but I'll help you. We'll get him down. And I had gone to one of his classes, and one of his classes, this was way before all of this, probably like a year before. One of his classes is based on what he calls the shift, which is shift before you create. And it's about your perception and your vibration level and where you're at and what you're creating. And one of it was what you're feeling today is the vibration you were emitting 2 weeks ago. So how do you want to feel 2 weeks from now? So you've got to raise your vibration. So the universe doesn't understand English or Spanish or any other language or French, but it understands vibration. And I thought to myself, okay, so what do I want to feel 2 weeks from now? I don't want to feel like I do today. I've got to do something today to change my vibration. And that mantra, giving thanks for unknown blessings already on their way, just sparked my heart and sparked everything. I was thought, oh man, we're going to have a good time and things are coming up. This is going to be great. I've got to tell Zoe about this. The other mantra that I live by is do what you can with what you got from where you're at. And when you got $2 in your pocket and a phone that will only attract Wi-Fi, and you can get on Facebook to go talk to Zoe, you're going to walk in the snow down to the coffee shop to get $2 worth of coffee and Wi-Fi to connect with these people. And then that's what I did that day. I walked down and I got a hold of Zoe, and I got a hold of my other mentor, Michael, who introduced me to the law of attraction, Abraham Hicks, specifically. And So Zoe lived in Salt Lake, and you know how hard he is to pin down.
Yeah.
And Michael lives in Logan, and he travels the whole world he's a software engineer. He's hard to pin down too. That day, they both came and met me at the coffee shop. And for about 6 to 8 hours, we just sparked and blew ideas on how we would create, how are we going to help Anna create this center, because now she's awakened and has purpose and path and ideas and all of these things that we want to create. And the magic really, really started there. And then I think Zoe was doing Betty's Soulworks shows. Was how I got introduced to, so Zoe and Ty, 2 friends, were doing Betty's show. Now, at this time, I mean, I've had some lucid dreams and some premonitions, and some things are kind of popping in whenever they want to.
Yeah.
One of them, we'll get into that story later, is at my NDE, my visit to the other side, really made a difference in my life too. But so from back to the MLM, if you want to be a millionaire, you've got to hang out with millionaires. If you want to be a teacher, you go hang out at a university. You want to be a student, same thing, vice versa. So whatever you want to become, you go hang out with those people so that you can be in the vibration and influence of what you want to become.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I got to go hang out with psychics. So I don't know how I'm going to get in there, but I'm going to get in there. And this is part of the art of allowing that I really love. It coincides with the law of attraction is that allowing part. And I was interested in the Soulworks Psychic Fair. And then there was a post on Facebook, and Betty Piggy's face painter didn't show up.
Nice.
And I'm a henna artist, but I also do face painting. So, and this is what I was doing. Like when I go get a booth at another event to promote my center, or solicit a network and whatever I'm really doing there, but I have to find a way to pay for it. So I started doing henna and face painting to pay for my booth space, because you can't just go network. I didn't have the money to just go pay for a booth and network. I had to do something to
to recoup some of those benefits.
Of that money. So I hit her up and I was like, "Hey, I'm a face painter. Can I come do your show?" And that's what I did for the first 6 months of the show. I sat in my table in the front and did henna and face painting and displayed my art and got involved with it that way. And that's really how I met all of the psychics and readers and healers that started out with Betty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long have you painted? Have you been an artist your whole life? Is it something that you've always been into?
Yeah. My mom was a beautiful, fabulous, talented artist. She was an oil painter, and that brought me to something that hit me up in my meditation this morning. Like, why do I do what I do? What is it that I do? There was a point in my life, and I watched my mom complain about her life and her work, and just the passion in her had died. And I thought, I don't ever want that to happen to me. And I don't want that to happen to other people. So we're all born with innate gifts. We're all given this beautiful bundle of gifts when we're born. Either as an artist, a musician, a singer. Most of us just do it as hobbies. And I thought, my mom could be this famous artist, or at least a happy one, right? But she's not. She's sold her passion and purpose and life dream to put food on the table and keep a roof over her head. And I don't want that to happen to me, and I don't want that to happen to other people. So I can revive and rejuvenate and inspire that in people. That's really the thing. And so when I was like 9 years old, my mom used to take me to oil painting classes with her, because we'd go down to the high school, and that was our time when we got to create together and paint. And then, I became a teenager, and paints went out the window. A lot of the paints all dried up, and I didn't pick up a brush for, Lord only knows, 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've always been an artist, so, if I got the chance to, and the 4th of July, everybody comes over to Grandma's yard because I paint everybody's faces. And that's kind of where the face painting started. But my mom has always encouraged me. She always bought me an art set for Christmas or something, and it was just, or sketch pad, or just a reminder, that I'm a creator.
Yeah.
And so here and there, I mean, I've done it, but I think I picked it up with my divorce. It was my medicine. It was my meditation. It was a way to control, because I suffered with anxiety so bad. It was a way for me to calm down and deal with emotions. If I was angry, I painted. If I was happy, I painted. If I was sad, I painted. My youngest daughter, she's very in sync and in tune. She's like, "Are you mad, Mom? How do you know?" "Because you're painting really fast." "Are you sad, Mom?" "Yeah." "Why?" "Because you're painting really slow."
Yeah.
She's just in tune with what I do. And I was painting this tree one day, and I thought, if I don't be still and concentrate only on this branch, I won't have a tree or a branch. I'll have to make it something else because it'll be all over the place. Mm-hmm. That was my aha moment. And I thought, I'm meditating. This is the closest to meditation that I've ever got. For me to sit still in an om or be still was not going to happen. But it does happen when I painted, and I just went, I've got to teach people how to do this. I've got to show this to other people. This is a form. I read into it a little bit and found that, all forms of art are meditation. All forms of sports are meditation, things that require you to focus on a single aspect to create that nothingness that is everything is meditation.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time because I talk to people about meditation. I feel like I'm a meditation missionary. I just go out and I try to talk to as many people as I can and see if they're meditating, and if they're not, why, and then expanding people's perception of what it really is, because it's not sitting in that single position and chanting a mantra or disappearing up into the foothills for 6 months. And there's so many different ways and in so many different forms. And I tell people all the time, if you like painting, paint, because you're going to go to that same spot when you're painting. And it's that whole creation, you can get it doing anything really. You just have to recognize it.
Absolutely. That's where I found the similarity, the synchronicity, the same thing. I felt it when riding a motorcycle. I felt it while skiing. I felt it while painting. I feel it while fishing. There's just, when you finally get to that space that there's nothing and everything, and you're able to do it while creating. It doesn't have to be, there's 1,000 ways up the mountain, and it doesn't have to be what we stereotypically see as meditation.
Yeah.
For me, I would love to go float, but my morning meditation, I take a bath and not a shower. I have to give myself that extra 10 minutes to just center and breathe, and not necessarily, I let thoughts, at first I thought I have to control all of these thoughts while I'm doing this kind of meditation, but I don't. I'm just let what flows in, flow in, and the people that I think of usually in that meditation show up in my experience within the next day or two. I'm like, I was just thinking of you in my meditation. You showed up, and ta-da, there they are. And we're going to lunch or something like that. Or they chime in, and I haven't heard from them in 6 months or a month or two, and then I'll see something on Facebook and know that they're well. And like, hey, you're like right there. So cool.
So that's the thing too, because you brought it up and you mentioned it. I don't try to control my thoughts when I meditate. When I first started practicing and trying to figure out how the hell to do it, I'd go crazy because I would try to focus on something. I would try to have a mantra. I would try to have some technique that I had read about or learned about. And undoubtedly, I could do it for a very, very short time, and then my brain would just start going again, and it would just start running through everything. And I found when I would just let go of that process and not really try to control my brain anymore, just let it do what it would do, then it would kind of naturally find its own rhythm and state to where I would kind of disconnect, or I guess disconnect's not the right word, but it would allow me to connect to that spot that I needed to go to.
Yeah, and I think that if we in meditation, if we find it through painting or music or art, and that's why I love fire, watching the fire spinners and fire burners, because I get to see this whole nother level of what's really going on when they're spinning fire and hula hooping and just those flow arts. Mm-hmm. I'm like, do more of that, please. Please keep doing what you're doing, because you're meditating, you're medicating, and you're in the flow of the universe plus an element. It's just amazing to watch it happen. And so I think if we follow some of that passion and purpose in the things where we're creating what our soul's passion and purpose is, whether it's painting, art, music, fire flow, biking, motorcycles, skiing, all of that kind of stuff, then you recognize when you recognize that space, then you're easier to connect in that space when you're not doing the same activity. Does that make sense? It makes the sitting down and meditating a lot easier. It makes the connecting next to the river, just doing in single space, or when we need to shift, before we create, and we need to get into that clear space so that we can go blank. That's funny because I've got a couple of friends that read minds, and I know who they are, right? Because I'm intuitive. I'm intuitive, and I'm like, oh, you're reading my mind. So I've got to keep my thoughts pure and clear. Do you think I was ever able to do that before being able to be silent? And so I'm really good at drawing a blank. You know, it's like people that they do it, and they catch me once in a while. They're like, how can you do that? Like, because I know what you do.
Yeah.
So I just taught myself to be clean, pure. What am I thinking of? Oh, look, there's nothing. That's kind of a fun trick to play with people that can read minds.
You talked a little bit about when you were a kid and all the different kind of gifts and the things that you would experience as a kid. Tell me some more about that.
Well, as a child, like I said, I could see things before they would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, is that normal? Is that something that most people can do? Is this different? Am I different? And then you start with, I'm different.
Yeah.
Because that's, where the tip happened. What really happened was I had a red balloon, and I looked up at the ceiling, and it was those asbestos spiky kind of ceiling.
Uh-huh.
And it was a red balloon, and I looked up at the ceiling, and I saw my balloon hit it and pop. And I went, oh, I don't want to pop my balloon, and clench my balloon tighter. But then I went, okay, I wonder if I can make that happen if I let my balloon go. Like, is it just going to bounce or is it going to pop? Mm-hmm. And I let it go and it popped. And that's when I went, look what I can do. And that's when the voice was like, no, yes, you can, but no, you won't. And that my grandmother that spoke to me so clear, great, this is a great lead into the ND. She's just a protector. And I've had some readings to connect with her to see what had happened. And I think we had some really traumatic, her and I, experiences as sisters. I believe we were in another life. And so she's just this protector that's like, no, they will hang you. Actually, she told me, yes, you can, and don't you dare. And she said, they will hang you, they'll hurt you, or they'll lock you up. And they'll call you crazy. So don't you dare let anybody know what you can do. Well, that's pretty, for a 4-year-old, hey, I'm not going there. I just started, I'm not going to do that. No way, I got a life to live. And I was sitting in a restaurant with my daughter. And when people read and they see my spirits, they tell me who she is and what she looks like. I'm like, yeah, that's Grandma.
Uh-huh. So you still feel like
Oh, I know. She's right here all the time. I'm like, she's just got my shoulder, she's got my back. And I was sitting in the restaurant. So this has been an internal struggle for me because, working at the psychic fair, being a face painter and a henna artist, knowing full well that I have gifts that I'm trying to reawaken or remember, was very, very frustrating for me, and it continues to be. And it's just, what do I have to do? What are the blocks? Why can't I just have them back? What do I have to go through? What fire do I have to run through to get these gifts back? Because I know that I can help the world with them. And I was sitting in a restaurant with my youngest daughter, and she just started channeling. And I said, we were talking about spirits because she sees spirits all around people. She can tell how many are around you, who's with you. She can describe them. She can see them.
How old is she?
She's 10. And this was when she was probably, 3 years ago, she was about 7. Mm-hmm. She's kind of not paid attention to it now. She's getting older.
Yeah.
But she was telling me she saw my grandma. And I said, I want you to ask her a question. And I said, ask her, what are my gifts? I wanted some validation, some confirmation. And she says, you know what they are. She showed them to you in a dream, and she is not going to tell you again. This is my spirit guide. Okay, this is my grandmother she's not going to tell you again. And she said to not tell anybody about them because they're going to use it. Your enemies will use it against you. And I went, well, who would do that to me? I'm a light worker. I'm Anna Sierra. Who would, I just operate in the light. But there is a duality that we do live in. And I gave it some thought, and it kind of came to me was how I do get my visions and stuff mostly lately is in my dreams. So in one dream, I've been over to the other side a couple of times. In one dream, I was driving along in the car with my youngest daughter, my dog, my brother, and my son. And in the car behind us was my mom and my middle daughter. And we were all going on a camping trip up towards Bear Lake. This is Aunt Rhodes. It's called Aunt Rhodes Flat or something like that, somewhere up there. So there's this piece of highway where it was just a 2-lane highway. And if you off the edge, you're off the edge, And So in this dream, my brother's driving and I'm in the driver's seat. And my kids are in the back with the dog. And I see this big fiery crash in front of us. And I just grabbed the wheel really quick and I said, turn, we can't hit that. Just grab the wheel. Like he didn't see it or just like popped up there. And so anyway, in the flash, and it was a really quick flash, I grabbed the wheel, saw the fire, grabbed the wheel, and bam, and then I'm running as fast as I can. My youngest daughter is running next to me. And I was like, hurry up, come on, jump in my arms. And she jumped in my arms and my dog was like, what about me? And I'm like, you too. You jump on top of her and I'll carry you guys. And they did. And I ran so fast and then I felt safe and slowed down. And then I saw my brother and my son sitting on the back of this old like 57 green rusted truck that was selling wood out of the back. And they were like tailgating, sitting on the tailgate. And I got there and I was out of breath and I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I can't believe we made it out of that. And they just waited for me. And they looked at me because on the other side and where we will be eventually, we just communicate telepathically.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, we didn't. And realized that I had passed at that point. And my first initial thought was shock was, I got to go back. I left Savannah and Mom in the car behind us. I got to go back. There's stuff I have to do. And Spirit was like, you can go back, but you'll be a newborn. And what can you really do to help them now? And I was like, oh, okay. Got a point there. Okay, so now I'm here. And I looked at my son and my brother and see my son, like I told you, spoke to angels when he was young and grew up and out of it. And my brother is a science man, right? He doesn't believe he believes some things, but nothing like what I believe in.
Yeah.
And I just looked at them and I was like, you suckers. I was like, you knew the whole time. You operate here. You came from knowing. And I've had to go through this whole lifetime and this experience to get to where you guys are at, And so I was like, okay, I can accept that. So now I'm here on this plane, right? So crossed over. What is my path and purpose here? Now that I can't go back and I'm here sitting by this truck. So down by the river comes this man. He walks up from the river bend, and he's got all his fishing gear and stuff on. And remember the old TVs when you could change the hues, like make all orange or all green or all blue?
You could adjust the dials and stuff.
Yeah. So he was
We're old, if we remember.
Well, he was green. He wasn't like mossy green or dirty. He wasn't weird. He was just green. And he walked up to me and he's like, I am pissed. And I was like, oh, why? Maybe that explains why you're green. And he's like, I have been fishing here for who knows how long and I haven't caught anything. And I was like, oh, honey. I said, that's because you've crossed over. We're in the middle right now. Mm-hmm. And you didn't know. There was nobody here to tell you. I had my brother and my son to tell me. And there was nobody here to tell you. I was like, I don't know if you slipped and drowned or fell or whatever, but you've been here for a long time because you're really green. And I just looked beyond the truck and I said, do you see that light over there? And he goes, yeah. And I said, you just got to walk towards that. And he was like, oh, okay, bye. And just walked off into the light. And I thought, well, what does that mean? What is that about?
Yeah.
Why was I given the chance to die without dying, to see the other side? Just one piece of it. Because I've had another one too that's really changed my life. And so I started teaching workshops after the second expo that I did. I got a lot more attention. And one of my dear friends said, what's next? And I was like, are you kidding? I'm just glad it's over at this point, right? I have no idea what's next. This was like the next day.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what would you do or change different? Or what did you feel? How was your experience? And we spoke about, because I kind of segregate the readers from the rest of the venue so that it's not so loud because of the entertainment. So I always put the readers like in a different little area or room at the expo. And she said, when I went and handed out those papers for you and I walked through the reader room, she was like, that place was crazy. She's like, there were so many spirits and channelings and things that were not clean, like sessions weren't being ended. So we had readers that were opening up sessions and opening up all these beautiful realms and spirits and stuff. And then they were just hanging out because they weren't closing. I thought, oh, well, we have to have a class we'll bring the readers in and do a class on opening and closing sessions so that it's not that uncomfortable for empaths and people that can see walk into this chaos of a room that can't even handle being in there. And then she said, well, we should do it we should do it a week before the event, the next event. And I was like, oh, no, we have to people aren't going to get it in one event. They're going to have to come for a few classes.
Yeah,
They're
that's
gonna
not a
have to
2-hour
come.
gig.
Yeah. And so we birthed the workshops, the Wednesday Wisdom workshops that we started right after the second expo. And we ran those classes for about 12 weeks. And out of those classes, so we did just kind of in 2 hours, we kind of did an introduction. So we did marketing your spiritual business. We did the art of allowing. We did synchronicity. We did archangels. We did or all things angelic. And we did a class on NDEs.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up and spoke my story, which was completely against what my grandmother wanted me to do.
I have a question about your grandmother.
Yeah.
Because you talk about hearing her when you were 4 years old. Mm-hmm. Did you ever know her, or had she passed before you were born?
She passed. She passed when I was 3.
Okay.
Okay. She didn't speak a lick of English. She was actually a Ute Indian who married my grandfather, who was Spanish, and it was easier for her to blend in as a Mexican or a Spaniard than to be an Indian. Mm-hmm. And so all of that Native Americanness died with her. So I was born with all these things that I couldn't explain and knew about. I knew about spirit. I knew about the long hair. I knew about burning. I knew about so much stuff. And I just didn't have names and words for Wonka Tonka and all of these things that just held heart, space for me. And I asked my mom, I was like, did you know Grandma was psychic? She was like, oh, no, she wasn't. I was like, oh, yes, she was. She just never let anybody know about it, and she did everything she did in the closet.
Yeah.
Because she was very secretive about what she did. But I remember her so well because, who remembers stuff before you're 3?
For sure.
I remember communicating with her. We communicated telepathically. We just did. Mm-hmm. And she's just always been... She's very whip snappy, smart, and whip cracking the way she is. So back to this. Do you want to go back to the story?
Yes.
That's about all I really remember of her. We lived in Colorado, and we lived in a pink adobe house, and she had this big cast iron bed, and I just remember laying with her a lot. And I remember eating, the tin cookies, the round blue tin cookies, butter cookies. She always had those. That was like our treat. So as far as this life, I think I've communicated with her more since she's been gone than the real communication that we had when she was here, because I was so young and that transition. But I think that's where that transition is that she was a part of me just for that space so that I would recognize and know and see her and know who that was when I hear the voice. And
I was going to say, it makes sense because as you're talking about her and everything, and obviously she's a huge part of your life and your journey and your experience. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, how did you know what for if she had died before you were even born? And you know what I mean? How would you even recognize her as grandma and all that kind of stuff? But it makes sense to what you're talking about. And that's a really kick-ass bond.
Yeah, it really is. It's really awesome. So
back to the classes.
Back to the class. So we have the class on NDE, and I get up and tell my story. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you the second dream in a second. And it was I was nervous. I was really nervous about it because I didn't know what box I was opening, right? I'm exposing the gift that was revealed to me in a dream back to Rainie's story. Yeah. That said, Grandma showed you in a dream, and she said she's not going to show you anymore, right? And I'm going to piss her off. But I'm going to do it anyway. Here I go, talking in public. And when the class was over, we always went upstairs. The class was downstairs at my friend's house. She had this big, beautiful home. And then we'd go upstairs for potluck and ground and kind of recenter, because these rooms were pretty powerful. We'd had about 40 people in the room on these workshops that we were doing at a time. So we go upstairs, and my friend Mandy and another friend of ours is talking about the spirits that were in that room and the kind of the phenomenon and things that were happening. And I said, well, one of those was mine. I said, that was my grandmother, who was... There was some shape shifting and different things going on, and I said, so I'll take responsibility for that. That was me. So that was my baggage in the room. And my friend LaVon said, yeah, it was her, and she just wants to tell you thank you for what you just did, because the courage that you had to speak about what you've seen and what you know and what you can do kind of released some chains from not only her, she said, but she started looking back, and you can tell when a person channels, I do the same thing. We kind of look out, and she goes back. She's like, more than 7 generations. So you've just healed a whole lot of people, and they're really grateful for you speaking your story.
Yeah.
And that's just, I call them tears of truth, and this tears of happiness that your soul, just like you can't stop. It's not that they're sad or they're happy. It's just, it's that unconditional love truth. Like, I don't know, have you ever had those kind of tears? Like when you see your newborn child, it just,
I know what you're talking about.
That feeling, that stuff that just, you can't explain it. And you just know it's better than goosebumps. It's better than anything else. And it was just like, wow, that's cool. That's what that was about. In another dream, it's kind of a longer story. So this gal came to me. I was in like a fraternity party dorm area, and this girl shows up to me, and she had beautiful curly blonde hair and a yellow sweater on that matched her hair. And she said, I need your help. And I said, okay. And she grabbed my hand. And when she held my hand, I was downloaded with what happens on the other side. So my life story passed in front of me. And on the other side, we judge ourselves. You know, the things that we could have done, should have done, things that we did do, things we could have done better, things we did great. And you're kind of given this space in every, and there's no time, obviously, on the other side, so you don't know how long you're there or how long this is happening or whatever. Pain, sorrow, joy, everything that you've ever experienced in this lifetime is kind of played through frame by frame by frame by frame. Some things you kind of skip over fast, and some things you want to spend some time on because you reflect and judge yourself on what that was. And she was very patient and kind, and some things I just really cried my heart out for. And, you know, like, why did I do that? Or, gosh, I hurt that person, or I could have helped that person more, or different things. And just, she had a couple of things she kept repeating over and over. And one was, it's okay, it's just a school. Are you okay? Have you spent enough time there on that one? It's okay, you know, like if you have or not, you know, but just for here, there's no time. There's no, you take your time, you know, what you need to do to get through it. And so I got to essentially go through the death, that part of the death of that process, and see what that was. And, you know, and again, and I think to myself, why was I given or shown these gifts? But and then I've had confirmation is because, Anna, you help other people cross over, and I've had people show up that I've helped cross over in readings and stuff, and say, you know, thank you, you're the reason why I'm on the other side, or you know, things like that. So that's
like the Green Man.
Like the Green Man, are friends of mine. I've had a lot of friends that have crossed, and they're like, tell Anna, thanks for getting me, you know, across the bridge or through the light or whatever. And some things I remember and some things I don't, on who I help and who I haven't helped. But some people, like, when you read it like an old seasoned reader, and they said, they're like, wow, you've helped a lot of people. They're like, when? You never rest. You don't rest in your sleep. You don't rest in your awake. You don't. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I do. But that brings me back to where you asked me last week, and you were like, what are you running from? And I thought, oh man, I contemplated that for 2 days.
Did you?
I did. And I talked to Mandy, my friend Mandy, about it. And I was like, what is this? And we spoke about this spiral because, you know, she's like, all of the stuff that you've been through, all of the hells and fires, she's like, you're a strong woman, and you get to a certain level of consciousness. And guess what? There's deeper truths. Yay. Isn't that beautiful? And why? Then I got this reading. So, you know, the angels in the universe, I just call this one and the same. They will communicate with you the best way. They know you'll pay attention. And mine happens to be through articles on Facebook. And they sent this one, and it was like, you're exhausted. You are not only physically, emotionally exhausted, you're galactically exhausted. So, and I asked Mandy, I was like, did I stop loving myself? Did I do that? She's like, did you? And I went, no. I was like, well, why do I feel like I need to have a partner or a significant other in my life? Or what is this about? Because this is where that pain was coming from, right?
Yeah.
It was like this abandonment or this aloneness. Remember I told you I was like a single mom, exhausted from just going and helping others and all of this stuff. And we reflected on all this through the day. And I thought, because I'm tired. I'm really, really tired. And I got this confirmation on it. It was like, yeah, you are tired and it's okay. It's just a school. You get to own that and take that and be it. And it doesn't have to be as traumatic and dramatic as the first initial experience. All it just needs is an awareness. It just needs an awareness to say, oh, there you are, abandonment. Oh, there you are, fear. There you are, pain. There you are, showing up again. You know,
Yeah.
It's okay. And I love you.
I have this whole theory, and I sure hope, because I thought about that afterwards too, because we met last week and chatted for a little bit and everything. And I hate it when I shouldn't say I hate it when I do that, but I'll do that sometimes where I'll be talking with somebody and visiting with somebody, and I just obviously sense things and I feel things, and it's like stupid words come out of my mind or out of my mouth. And so I thought about it afterwards, and I always feel bad initially because I think that the last thing I want to do is throw a wrench in somebody's life or in their thought process or in their space or something. Do you know what I mean? But then at the same time, I kind of feel obligated in a sense to say things. But what you talked about, because a lot of times you'll have things, I think, that will come back where you feel like you've already healed this aspect, you've already processed this part of your life, you've already kind of overcome this adversity, and then sure shit, it pops back up in your space. And I think the reason that happens, this is my belief right around it, because I have the same experience where you do a ton of work and you're kind of moving and shifting and evolving and changing. And you get to a certain point when you think I'm doing really good and everything's going really smoothly. And then undoubtedly you find yourself kind of back in the same minutia of your shitty life that you've gone through. I think what happens is as you kind of evolve and as your vibration raises, the universe flips everything for you, so then you get the opportunity to see the other aspect, the other dimension of it, the other side of everything. And there's so many sides to everything. I think everything's really multidimensional. So everything, you know, we could spend a whole lifetime or a whole 1,000 lifetimes getting the opportunity to examine one little thing because there's so many different sides to it. So when it happens to me, it sucks and it's hard, but I kind of smile because I think, okay, this means that my vibration's going up, which means I'm more capable of handling and experiencing and understanding something, and the universe has just gone ahead and flipped everything again. So now I get the chance to see another side and a different aspect, but it's still a shitty process.
It's not the funnest of processes, but you're absolutely right. One, keep doing what you're doing. And when Spirit prompts you to say that, I didn't know I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was going to be the key that was going to open the door to the shit that I was going through at that time, right? That's that beep part. But that's what it was. It was exactly, it was the words that I needed to go through that process of why am I feeling like this? What is it? And that happens to me when I get too much going on so fast. I go to autopilot. I just kind of, I'm there. And then my body's like, oh, you're stressed. You're sick. You're this is whatever. I got really sick. I ended up in the hospital right before I went to California. So in the latter part of March, anyway, I ended up in the emergency room.
Really?
And Mandy was like, I saw this coming when you got sick. And this is all still the same stuff. Mm-hmm. This is all this transformation thing. I got another download this morning or last night from Mary Magdalene that was like, it's another transformation. But it's exactly what you said. We see a deeper truth. We see another perspective.
Yeah.
We raise the vibration so that we can go back and we're still rehealing. And part of that passage that came to me was like, when's enough's enough? You know, how many times do I have to walk through the fire to do this? But as many times it takes, I guess, you know, what we're doing here, what I've noticed is that, sorry, I'll get to you.
You're okay.
Is that we're healing. When you said 1,000 lifetimes, instead of having to live 1,000 lifetimes, this one is very strong, and we are healing not only our 1,000 lifetimes, but we're healing ancestral lifetimes.
Yeah.
In this beautiful space right now. And that's why it's so intense. But as we raise that vibration, you know, it's not 2 years of crap that I just went through. It was a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months. But I was better apt to deal with it. I was given so many tools and gifts and different things. I mean, I've been shedding until then that question popped up and it was, still? What is this? What is this all about? And it was a lot easier answer than I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to dig up more. Do I have to dig up more pain? I thought we already did that, and it was like, no pain. There you are, and it was just acknowledgement. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And
so that's what I find is it's an easier process, even though it still has the shades of shit and it's still difficult. You can move through it faster, and it doesn't last as long. And and for me, I made peace with it because it is frustrating, and you do ask yourself those questions: how many times am I going to have to do this? How many times am I going to have to go over this same damn thing? But for me, I think there's beauty in the dynamic of the way that it works, because in healing that aspect or reanalyzing or relooking at, I don't care what you call it, but when you go back and you kind of reevaluate whatever it is in your life, that experience, it raises your vibration. So you gain from it. And as your vibration raises, it just feeds the process. So my vibration raises, the universe flips it. I get more information, I raise more, the universe flips it again, I get more information, I raise more. So it's just that whole multi-dimensional aspect of that. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, there's like beautiful sacred destiny there where it's all intertwined and it all works and it feeds itself. It's feeding me, which in verse feeds the universe, and we're all connected and blah, 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 blah. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the process. So I kind of draw a little bit of comfort from it when I'm going through it. And
good for you. I
helps
don't
me
care for
breathe
what
a
you
little
asked
bit.
for. I'm done. I know. I don't show up anymore. I like vacation better. Yeah. I love your explanation of exactly what that was. We wonder why and how long, but that is that the vibration raises, and that's exactly what, when I was processing this with Mandy, this happened we went to, this whole process was from 10 until 2. What did we do? 4 hours worth of work together. And it was what would have taken me probably a couple of years otherwise, just in this beautiful conversation with a kindred soul that walked me through that. And I got to see, she's like, I see the Anna that's coming out on the other side. This is the Anna that she saw 2 years ago. When we were doing before workshop and before this and before that. And she was like, this is what I've been talking about. This is, the thing. And so that brings my heart joy to say like, oh, great. There's more. There's greater things coming. Because even up until yesterday, I was kind of like, what do I, I have this fire and I have this light and this charisma that is infectious to people, and they can see it even when I'm not feeling it. It just, I carry it and I wear it, but I was not feeling it this last week. Like I didn't want to be near people. I didn't want to, nothing. And even yesterday I thought, where's that fire? Where's the passion? Where's the light? Where's the law of attraction? Where's the vortex? Where's the space that I normally create from? Because it ain't here and I don't care.
See, I noticed that when we met last week, and granted you were tired and you were, when we're hectic and busy, but you can pick up on those little subtle things, and because you are a beautiful person, you have that light that you describe, and it's, I don't want to say it's sad, I don't think it's sad, but it's kind of a bummer when you see it in somebody and it's kind of been dimmed or died down.
I picked that up and I went, that's what happens when I go too long, too strong, too far, too fast. I burn myself out, candle at both ends, and that that happens when I'm doing an event, when I'm like in the stress of creating and getting all the things done and hurting the cats and all of the crazy stuff. And I lose track of the higher purpose, the higher vibration of why I'm doing things. Why am I doing all this work is for this up here. And I try to control things and I'm trying to make things happen. And, it's like you keep putting the plate on the table and it falls, put the plate on the table and it falls, put the plate on, it just falls. And you're like, well, what am I doing wrong? I was like, quit putting the plate on the table. It doesn't go there right now, Just leave it on the floor and go do something else and change your vibration and come back to that. And, oh, look, I didn't even put the plate on the table. Somebody put it on the table for me. Because when we let it go, when we start allowing, we live in this 3D world, this material world we're used to. We're raised that way, to go make things happen. Don't take no, don't do the, all of that conditioning that happens to us, and we forget. And I was just running, and I'm glad that I needed that break, and that's what it was. No, you don't need to pack for one more trip. You need to sell those tickets. You need to chill out and just be for a minute. And it's a difference what a difference a week can make, and then that introspection and that reflection, so that we can have that closure. Even last night I was like, I'm not ready for this interview. Not at this point in my life. You know what I just went through? But then now in this interview, I'm like, oh, look, the light's back. It's all, this was the key that opened last week, is here's the door and the lock and the window and all the beautiful things. It's like, yeah, well, look, the light's back on and everything's good. It's not really as scary as it was or whatever. Whatever that transition was. So get ready for good things coming. That means good things are coming.
For sure.
Unknown blessings already on their way.
And I love I think a lot of times too, because there's such synchronicity in all things and the way that everything is intertwined. And there's so many times when, obviously it takes us being outside of that experience and being able to look back and really see those connecting pieces. But one of the things that I focus on and I try to work in is trying to see that when it's happening. So it's not just the little synchronicities, like you talked way earlier about numerology and the way that you resonate with numbers and things. That's a beautiful thing, and that happens all the time. And they're all interconnected, and nothing's greater or less. I'm rambling, but it's all connected, and I try to recognize it in the moment, because a lot of times when you're in a shitty space and you're in a crappy spot in your life when everything's not really working, there's synchronicity even in that moment and the way that everything lines up and is connected. And if you can just kind of not just step outside of it, but really be present and mindful in the moment, you'll see, do you know what I mean, why it is the way that it is and how it's worked out the way that it's worked out. And I just absolutely love it. I get lost in it at times, sitting there and thinking about my own life and my own experiences and my interpersonal relationships with everybody.
Absolutely. That's one of this world is a beautiful, beautiful place, and it's full of beautiful experiences and people and intunements. That's a new term. And intunements is it being in tune with those experiences that are here. And I think once we recognizing that you're meditating, or recognizing that you see synchronicities, and recognizing that you are allowing, the art of allowing, recognizing that you are a powerful manifester, you're a powerful creator, how fast you can manifest after you start manifesting those evidences that we create. It builds up that experience, it creates it more often for you so that we can continue to create and be and live in those spaces where we all love. And where we love and connect and are. And I think that is the new consciousness. That is the higher consciousness. That is the connected pieces of us. It's like I can think of a person right now, and I'm sure when I walk out, I'm going to hear a phone call from them, because I create that fast. Now, it wasn't always the story before, but that's part of that alignment. That's part of that the synchronistic divine alignment and allowing, and the law of attraction, and all of these things that are truths for me. Maybe not for everyone, or not yet, but that's my disclaimer at the beginning of classes and workshops, or when I'm public speaking or whatever, is don't take my word for it. Go find your truth.
Yeah.
But if something resonates with you, like those happy tears or goosebumps or your hair blows or something, like, whatever your sign is, whatever your cosmic nudge from the universe is letting you go, this is the real deal.
Listen to this.
This is what you pipe up now, because this is it. Whatever that is for you is a beautiful gift. And when you find your truth, it's infectious and you'll carry it on. And that's really what happened after the second expo and then the workshops. I just lit fire under a lot of people and watched so many of those people that were in those classrooms with me have their own businesses, have their own classes, have their own workshops, just blossom and boom. And it happens after every event. Every event, I get one or two people that will come up to me and just sometimes in full tears and say, your event changed my life. Your event is, and they're like, I will never forget where it came from. That's not it. It's not where it came from. It's that it came to you, and that's the honor. That's why I do what I do. That's and not all things that I touch is magic. Not all things happen is now that I've got attention. And yes, I do festivals every weekend, pretty much. I've worked doing shows every weekend for a very long time, because I was a traveling vendor before I started doing my own stuff. Sometimes I have higher expectations. Like I expect the same magic that come to my events, that my events do, to happen to someone else's event. But I forget that it's not just me and my team creating. Now there's another dynamic and other things, and so my expectation is not always going to be what it is. But I still do my best. Still do your best, give your all, create that momentum and that growth for who they are. Because then again, it's just that beautiful experience of it was meant to be, and whatever seeds are planted or grown, and what they're going to learn from it and take away from it, and where it might come from here. I mean, just the possibilities are always endless. There's just, you never know when we let go of expectation and let the allowance happen, then that's where the magic is. And you never know, it'd be a person that you met that's going to be a part of your life for the next 10 years. And it, wasn't that, or it was the one person who was their first experience in doing a show, and they learned so much that one time, or it started their journey on their inner path that changed their life. Or we just never know exactly what all those, what all that interconnection and connections are and going to be, but it's always magic. It's always beauty. Magic. It's always beautiful.
It's good stuff. You talked about on the Soulworks Fair and face painting and being there with other psychics and other healers and things like that, and always kind of searching and wanting to know what your gift was going to be and what your gifts are, because you know that you have them, but you don't really aren't in touch with them, but you know they're important and that you're going to help a lot of people with them. Are you still in that process of trying to figure out what that is, or you? Because I think I kind of know what your gift is.
Well, spit it out. No, let me tell you. I want you to spit it out after I tell you this. So there was a time when I don't remember what we were doing. Anyway, I can read, I scry, I channel. It's there. It's just, and it comes more pronounced each day, each experience. But I was I get mad at the universe all the time. It was like my grandma to me, why won't you just show me? And it came clear. Spirit was like, honey, if we showed you, you would be in a booth doing readings in somebody else's show. You wouldn't be the leader. You wouldn't be in the front. You wouldn't be the one. You wouldn't be the captain of the ship. You would be over there doing readings one at a time when we need you to be the leader of more.
Yes.
And I went, oh, okay, I can live with that. That's cool. Whenever it shows up and whenever it comes, it is going to be just fine. And so, yes, still in process. Not that it's not as far away as it used to be. Like I said, I can scry and read in channels. Sometimes somebody will walk up and it's just like, boom, channels blown wide open and they need this message right now. And sometimes it's, there's not. And when I intentionally open channel, it's there. So yeah, but to sit and just do readings, it's not my calling. It's not.
It's not necessarily your desire to have that be another aspect of what you're doing right now.
Oh yeah, no, I do. I love it. I love trading readings and doing readings with people. It's just, I know that my purpose is a lot bigger.
Yes, I think there's a lot of. So I think there's people in the universe. I think there's people that you come across in your life. I think there's really a group of people that are really important, and I think those people resemble the way that I think of them and the way that I look at them, right? You're somebody that facilitates a lot of different things for a lot of different people. With the power that you have to create and the power that you have to kind of intertwine a bunch of different things and different energies and different people to create something that facilitates and magnifies for the greater good for that group. So when I met you and when I've known, like we said, I've known you since kind of January, the first part of the year and things like that. I think you're like water. I think that's kind of like the thing where you bring everybody together, everything flows through you, you kind of reshape the landscape, and everybody kind of, like if you think about water in a river, and I'm going to get like really out there and metaphoric in all the ways, but you think about the river going down the mountainside, and it's the one that shapes the landscape. It's the one that cuts through this, it cuts through that. Things fall into the river and get carried away, but they're going in the direction that the river's going. And I think that's what you do. I think you just facilitate that for everybody around you. It serves a greater and higher purpose. Do you know what I mean? Because yes, you could go and sit and have a booth at one of your events and do readings and things like that, but then everybody else is going to miss out. Everybody else isn't going to have that water that's guiding them and shaping the path and facilitating something greater for them. It was a big tipping point for me when I did your event in January, and my life's been on a really kind of whirlwind experience in the last 6 months with a lot of cool stuff. And I think that had a big part to do with it. And so I think that's the gift that you bring. And it doesn't obviously have to look like anything else. It doesn't have to be like anything else. It's just specific to you, and it's unique, and it's important.
Thank you so much. That was absolutely beautiful. I'm like, oh, I'm a river. Yes, that honestly, that's the same thing as saying this universe telling me, honey, if we showed you all of those gifts, maybe they were just given to me as an understanding. Mm-hmm. And I don't really need them at this point because of the path that I've surrendered to. And saying to the universe, let me be captain, show me where to go, trust my guides, and allowing that to happen is so very true. I am honored to be water for events and people and things, and kind of, tapping my own shoulders. When I do interviews typically with people before they come into the show with readers, I meet as many new ones as I can.
Yeah.
And when people are like, oh, I can tell what kind of gifts they have. And I'm like, well, when you're sitting across from me, I usually go to lunch or coffee or something. And I said, oh, well, when you're sitting across from Anna Sierra, welcome to your life, because it's about to change. It's just what happens. It's like I'm this catalyst for, boom, here's your life's purpose, here's your path. Go ahead and deny it, or not.
Yeah.
You can deny it or go with the flow and be ready for all of the beautiful things that are going to be coming up for you next, most people write it, but some people don't. Some people, will sit back, and it's kind of scary to embrace that much, but I think that's why I don't mind being in the front of the room, in front of the crowd, and be like, here it is, look, it's beautiful if you just come back through the other side. And for me, going through what I went through the last couple of weeks, or the last couple of months, it's been a couple of months of that shedding, is like, okay, Anna, you just recognize it, go through it, feel it, be it, not become it, but let it flow. The same thing. Look at, there's going to be something great on the other side.
Yeah.
Something beautiful on the other side, and things you've never could have imagined, I never would have imagined that I would be doing what I do now, when I'm on stage or introducing a new artist or just different things. Sometimes my mind being on the podcast is like, I did this, I got here, and I don't give myself credit often enough. I don't, because I'm just going.
Yeah, be the water for yourself.
Yeah,
You're
going.
in that river too with everybody else.
I am, and that's where I've been, is kind of ups and downs on this river since last couple months of what I've been going through. But I've in the last couple of years, I just I didn't even give myself time to reflect or be or anything, and it's a beautiful way that the universe does align to allow us to do that. I mean, I could have kept going, but it was like, no, you just need a break. Go soak in the hot pools for a minute and go do this for a minute, and maybe today we're just going to sleep,
We're going to take a nap today.
Today we're going to sleep all day. As it happened the other day, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to go get that done. Whatever. It's not like it's so pressing that it, my mind goes 90 and wants to keep going 90. And it's like, no, today we're resting. This is what we're going to get done.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It is okay. It's all good. It's the way it's supposed to go. Well, I've loved interviewing you. I've loved sitting down with you. You've got a bunch of stuff. Like I said, you probably could sit here and we could spend the next 5 minutes going over everything that you not only have coming up, but that you're involved in, that you do. What's kind of the best way for people to follow you, to keep up with date, other than just kind of friending you on Facebook?
Actually, right now, Facebook is the best way to do that, because I can talk to 10 people at the same time. That's really what I have going on. I would like to get a website, but I'm so versed in what I do. So I have Strictly Sierra Studios, which is my art page. Mm-hmm. I've been doing live painting at a few festivals since I quit my day job. If I'm not the vendor coordinator for an event or on committee or on board, then I'll come in as a live artist, so that which is good, because it's going to delve into this whole new other beautiful project that's getting started now and going to be in the works. That'll be awesome. The Sacred Self was the original name of the center I wanted to open, which is just a virtual center, because I just do it on, through Facebook online. And then the Infinite Possibilities is another fan page, which is the name of the events and expos that I hold personally. I don't think those will ever go away. I just they're too magic. I see them growing, and so the 2 annuals that we have, expo and festival, will stay there. I would like to add a third in the fall in October.
Yeah.
Just when I just said that out loud, we're powerful manifestors and creators. I'm all in.
Let's see. It's June, October.
June, July.
We got 4 months.
Yep. So there'll be something in October. I kind of want to do this one in Lava Hot Springs, and I don't know if it'll be more of a retreat to the public. I keep saying that, and I'll give it back to the universe, bounce it back to me, and show me what it's going to be like. But I think we need to create something. There's some sacred space up there that keeps calling, and it's around my birthday time, and it's and I think it's going to be a good bouncing springboard for the setup to head into the event in January.
I love the idea, because you mentioned that to me last week, and I love the idea of having something like that for the vendors, for the, you don't call them vendors, tell me again what.
Exhibitors.
Yeah, for the readers and the people that are doing these fairs, and because everybody's super busy, obviously, and everybody's incredibly kind of overwhelmed, and so I love the idea of having something where we could all hang out and heal each other and create that energy. And I mean, I think that would be super, super cool. Yeah.
So like a healing of healers this keeps popping in, and not that the public wouldn't be invited or not, but I think it needs to be something when we just get enough of us together. I mean, there's a few hundred of us anyway, without the public. So, maybe that's what that is, and maybe that's what's headed up in the future for, next year or different things. Beyond that. So, I mean, my personal page, Anna Sierra on Facebook, is there. I do need a web designer, and I think one's going to show up real quick. That'll have, some other things that'll kind of, like, where's your calendar? Where's this? Where's that? Oh, it's all over the place. Just call me or text me or, IM me on Facebook, and we'll connect in that way. But yeah, I do have I do a lot on Facebook. I have so many groups and things and stuff that I run a community calendar, and I could use help with any and all of it. It's all of us.
You need a personal assistant. So we're now accepting job applications for Anna Sierra's personal assistant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the pay is energy and love and an amazing vibration and a wonderful journey and trip.
Experiences that you will be telling your grandkids about on the beach.
Very cool.
That's for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Anna. You're a beautiful lady. I love you very much.
Thank you so much. It's my honor.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, and I hope everybody have a beautiful, wonderful, wonderful day. The Energy is Love podcast is out.
I was like a kid at Disneyland, and I think I was a belly dancer in a past life. No. Yes, you can, but no, you won't. Boom. Here's your life's purpose. Here's your path.